What's up, Polytopians? Got another replay commentary for you today. It's Elyrion versus Bardur. This is actually the same Elyrion opponent from my first video. Oh, and what was that? I just got a notification. But yeah, this is continents this time instead of lakes. So let's just get started. Yes, I spawned on a small island. I think it was only like 3 cities available. But of course I am Bardur, so I do have the advantage in tribe. I don't usually play them very often, but the problem is a lot of people, if you queue up for random games, play Bardur, and I don't think there's any way to like ban them. But over here you can see he's just like last time. He's going for the city level 4 extra units start with Elyrion, and I don't think that's very good because it takes so long for Elyrion to be able to. I guess you save some money on the tech before you get your second city, but I think Elyrion is a tribe that's better off just expanding more, especially because they can create more units early on than most people can. Over here, just classic city leveling with Bardur, totally balanced. Oh yeah, he's got the ability to see ruins, so obviously he knew there was one down there. That's quite a cool perk of Elyrion. I forget about that a lot of the time because I don't really play them that much. I'm not really a special tribe main. Right, so he's taking that he's taking the ruin, he's leveling his cities up. So this is good. Oh, he trains a Polytopia. It's better than training a warrior because it's closer to explore. Right, found my 3rd city. I think I actually go for expand borders here rather than. I usually just go for population. But if you're on an island, that's like the one exception. Because you want to make as good customs houses that are as good as possible to make up for the lack of stars when you have less cities available. Right here, he's going for a small city leveling, and he did. Oh, and there he actually killed a Polytopia for it. That wasn't actually necessary. There were some free ones available, but I was recommending he should have done that in the first game we played. So he's made. It seems he's made some adjustments to his play since last time. Right there, I've claimed my 3rd city. He's out here expanding. Oh, he got a swordsman from the ring. That's not the most useful thing, especially so far back. Look at this. Actually going for those resource levels immediately this time. This is a huge improvement in play, and it makes such a big difference. We're already getting a bunch of extra stars per turn, and also an immediate return of stars. It's just so worth it. Over here I'm gonna level up this city. Get that workshop going. And use the workshop to get a giant out immediately. It's not really, the giant itself can't do anything, it's just really just leveling for stars. Oh, I'm going to claim that resources. I knew I was possibly missing out on a forge spot by placing that there. But it would have been worse to miss out on this incredible customs house spot. And there would have been nowhere else to place a customs house. Well, it would have just been a 2 stars per turn one. Whereas there is the potential for a 10. For a 10 stars per turn one. Which is just too much to pass up. Ooh, I'm going for another level here. Well, no, I don't quite think. I'm wondering if that expand borders is worth it, but I guess expand borders is usually more worth it when you're on an island. You need to maximize your cities. You need them to go as tall as possible. So, yeah, I think it was the right call. Over here is getting the farming tech. That's good. Elyrion has a lot of farmlands. Just exploring his island, taking cities. Going to be able to get another giant out this turn, it looks like. This is quite greedy. Really, taking to sailing quickly is very important on such a small map. But I'm being very greedy here by delaying it to level the cities as much as possible. I'm not necessarily sure it's the right call, but I do just love leveling cities. Speaking of cities, oh yeah, okay, so I did actually end up getting my 3rd one before him. I think it's because but that's the problem with his delayed exploration. He would have already had that city up there a long time ago. You'd opened up with another warrior or Polytopia on the 1st turn, which I think would have definitely been the right call in the long term. And so he's just gonna claim the city, his 3rd city now. Time to level it up. Yeah, you should prioritize leveling the lower cities first. It's definitely more worth it. Especially if you get to take yeah, because now you've taken expand borders. He could have afforded to level that city up twice, and then he would have got some stars back from doing so. So he would have still been able to level up the capital. expand the borders. So you really just lose out on stars by doing that. And again, that explorer, that was a bad explorer. If you don't have sailing, it was completely random where it was going to go. And I wouldn't take a chance on an explorer like that this early on, especially when 1 star per turn that you're losing out on is quite a big deal during like, the first 20 or so turns, I'd say. Okay, I got climbing. I know that probably wasn't worth it, but there was always a chance that there was a land path there. And if it turns out there was, it would, I really should have headed down there as soon as possible. Obviously it turns out there wasn't, but there was no way I could have known that, so I don't think it was too big of a mistake buying climbing. Then I get sailing afterwards anyway, which is pretty late to be getting it. But at least I have extra stars per turn to make up for that. Okay, yeah, he's going to be able to, he's discovering his 5th city, going to be taking a 4th next turn. Now he's leveling up, he's going to start getting dragons out. This is actually quite early to be getting dragons out. It's Elyrion. But that's because he delayed taking cities to buy tech earlier and get higher level cities. So maybe the trade-off is worth it if he just wants dragons as soon as possible. They are quite a good unit. Especially they are more impactful the earlier you get them. And you do have to wait quite a long time for them anyway. So another border growth. Not necessarily sure, but like population should usually be the default. Obviously in my case I really had to take border growth because I only have 3 cities. I need to get as much out of them as possible. That was a no-brainer because there was 2 whales. There was a lot of stars to be had by expanding the borders there. Okay, and I discover Elyrion terrain now. At this point I was already assuming he had like this entire lower half. I assumed he expanded a lot faster than me. Right, I'm going to get my giant in boat. Just going to start training up units, putting them in boats now. So obviously he doesn't have as much of the map as I thought he had, but he's still got more cities than me. But yeah, but my cities are higher leveled, so I'd say in stars per turn we're pretty even, and then tech for me is cheaper because I have less cities. So I like my positioning. Oh, that's a good explorer. If you just got sailing, there was only one direction. I didn't actually realize he had that much vision over this game. That was a really good explorer. He had a very good idea of what I was doing, then starting from this turn. And he's continuing to get dragons out. This is like a huge improvement in play. Like this is some very good stuff here. I think that was a mistake. Yeah, he probably assumed that farm belonged. That is a little. It's only a small mistake, and it didn't end up costing him too much because he could get in. But yeah, but you should, if you click on your city, you can check its borders. So you should probably do that before buying. Yeah, buying the stuff. I make that mistake quite a lot too as well. It is annoying sometimes. It's a problem you only have to deal with if you expand borders. Okay, I'm gonna be leveling up this frontline city. Yeah, frontlines, if you, especially on a naval map, so they're like continents or archipelago. Yeah, frontline cities, expand borders on frontline cities is quite valuable. You can heal up your battleships. It gives you a lot more control. That's usually the only time I'll take it. So I'm only just discovering my full city. Well, he didn't actually move onto that city yet. I thought he would have done that last time. I don't know why that is. So he's discovered. Yeah, so he's only actually 1 city ahead of me. I assume it's more, but I obviously know mine are higher level, so I wasn't that worried about it. But he has actually only 1 city ahead of me, so his advantage isn't in the city count isn't actually that significant. Yeah, yeah, he should have leveled that up quite a while ago. That was a mistake. Alright, so the dragons are finally hatching, but again, it's still going to be 3 more turns. I think dragons take way too long to hatch. Like, he got those out a long time ago, and he still isn't getting anything for that. The investment he put into the dragons isn't paying off yet, because they take so long. Obviously, with giants, you have to put them in battleships. You have to pay a star price. But I'd say paying the stars up front is not nearly as bad as having to wait 6 turns for it to be useful. Because baby dragons are not very useful. Because they're too weak, and you can't risk losing them, because you really need the big dragons. I think he's probably going to expand borders here for the whale. Not sure if it's worth it, but Elyrion whales are very nice. They're a very powerful unit. They're only limited by the fact that you don't get that many of them. Okay, there I get navigation now. I'm going to be able to start capturing my 5th city. Claiming my 4th this turn. Discovered a ruin up there. I'll probably move on to that ruin now. And send that giant down. Oh yeah, see, that's an okay explorer. It ended up being bad, because navigation actually ended up being a bad thing here, because it caused the explorer to go off in the corner. So there's always a lot of randomness to explorers. You can never really count on them. But generally, I think that was a good decision. Because it would... I was assuming it would probably go down. There was a high likelihood it would have. Unfortunately, it didn't. But at this point, it's not so bad. The 1-star per turn isn't nearly as significant. Now we already have a bunch of cities. And I guess knowing that there isn't another city in the corner, I don't have to waste my time exploring down there. Okay, so that's a mistake. He should have actually, if he had leveled up this boat for 5 stars, with 3 movement, it could have reached that city and he could have been ready to capture it next turn. And that's very significant. A frontline city getting that a turn earlier is very significant. So that's actually quite a big mistake, I would say. Now he's going to level up the cities. I would strongly consider city walls. On a frontline coastal city like this, this is the only time I would consider city walls. But no, he just takes his stars. That's a fine choice too, if you think you're not going to have trouble defending it. But personally, I would have taken city walls there. Okay, so he's moving a lot of his units down there. Right, I step on the mountain. I can see he's close to taking that city, but now my giant is very close. If he was already on it, I wouldn't have been able to stop him getting that city. But now I might be able to contest that. So yeah, I'm playing it quite slow and passive here, still just focusing on leveling. I'm not really picking a fight here. And it's really, the pressure's on him to start a fight, because he invested into those dragons. Oh, well, maybe he's probably planning to when the dragons come out, but Bardur has more growth potential, so the pressure is really on him to start a fight, where I will... Especially now that I have this island, I have control of it, I'm probably going to get most of these cities. It's up to him to... Yeah, it's really on him to try and like start taking some of my cities, put some pressure on. So these baby dragons, I think they're almost grown now. Then he can start putting some pressure on. Okay, so he sees my giant there. He's going to start shooting my other giant, but... Yeah, but it's not really taking that much damage. Although it is in a bit of trouble. I did put it too far out. It should really have... It's probably safer on land, to be honest. It has a lot more defense there. And he's bringing the naval on in. It's quite a deadly naval unit. I mean, you don't often get value out of the persist, because there's not often just a line of boats with low health waiting to die. But if that ever does happen, it's very satisfying. Yeah, I should have really pulled that back. Like, obviously he had control of that area, but yeah, I could see a lot of the ships. Although his escape route had been cut off because of the zone of control of that boat over there. But I still could have probably moved it back a tile. Alright, I discovered a battleship. 2 battleships. That was actually really lucky. Getting 2 battleships. They only have 10 health, but they still hit just as hard as a giant battleship. So that's probably the best thing I could have gotten from this ruin at this point. Now I'm buying roads to speed up taking both of those cities. And now I'm moving forward to not only block the ruin so he can't have it, but I'm already going to be able to contest the city. And the thing is, he would have already had this city if he had got onto it a turn earlier. So that's actually a major mistake. It ended up being probably a big problem for him. Because if he had this city last turn, he could already have city walls in it, maybe put a defender or something. I wouldn't be able to take it. But now it's looking like I don't think he has enough fire. Yeah, he doesn't have enough firepower then there to kill the giant, even if he used everything he had. Right now his dragons come out. Obviously I have no idea that his dragons... I didn't have any idea that the naval or the dragon was there. So he comes in, it's looking pretty scary. He's going to kill a bunch of my boats. I actually think that if the dragon had focused a 10 health boat over there, he would have taken the boat out with splash. But it's not a big deal because he finished it off with a defender anyway. No, that's not a defender, it's probably a Polytopia. I don't think he has defenders. Right there, Navalon hits pretty hard. But leaving it in range of the giant is a bit sus. But I guess he's assuming... Yeah, but he's assuming that the giant's going for that anyway, so the giant wouldn't waste its turn attacking that anyway. That would be a bad move if I did that, so it doesn't really matter that the Navalon's standing there. Yeah, so he's continuing to just train out warriors, just put units in boats. Oh, I think he's trying to level... He's probably going to expand borders on the city, I would assume. Yeah, because he'll get a second... Oh! See, that's weird. He expanded borders before. A second Navalon would be very useful for him. Yeah, actually, with the help of a second Navalon, he might have even been able to save the city. So I would say in this case... Yeah, look, see, a Dragon Egg... This Dragon Egg is not... See, this is the problem with Elyrion. Other tribes can push out a super unit. And it's just a massive power increase, and it's very helpful immediately. But for Elyrion, it's not. He has to wait 6 turns. So in this case, I would have just expanded borders and take the Navalon, because Navalons are actually much more useful than dragons. Because you get them immediately. That would be way more helpful. Because dragons, they'll only provide some real power after 6 turns. And so far, because Elyrion isn't even a tribe that can really level very quickly, they're not like an eco tribe. They already don't get their super units out incredibly quickly. And then they have to wait a while after that, so dragons are quite underwhelming, I would say, because of that. Obviously there might be balance issues if they were immediately dragons, but I think maybe if it was 2 turns, and then a baby dragon, and then 2 turns, then a full-grown dragon, I don't think that would be too overpowered. It would make a much more... It would be a much cooler unit if that was the case. Right there, I'm claiming both these cities. Probably going to level them up immediately. I think I'd take an explorer down there. I mean, yeah, it ends up like scouring the corner a bit too thoroughly. I was a bit unhappy about that, so it didn't. I would have preferred it went down that way. But again, you never know with explorers, and I don't think it was. I still think it was worth taking, because now I know there's no point wasting my time down here, because there's definitely not a city down there. So any kind of information is useful in a game like this, especially at this point. Once the 1-star return isn't going to be that big of a deal. Then I'm going to connect them all up. Probably going to be able to get another giant out of my capital soon. So yeah, I just have a lot more super units available, and giants. The lack of giants among all the special tribes is really bad when it comes to naval warfare, because giants are by far the best unit to put in a battleship. Since health is the only metric that the battleship keeps, and giants have a lot of it. Right there. I don't know if... I guess there was a whale there, so maybe that's why I took expand borders. But I don't know if that even saves money. I guess it's fine. Okay, there. Probably gonna expand borders again for the whale. And better potential for customs houses, but I don't think I don't end up even ever teching them, because it's just constant fighting from this point onwards, so I never got a chance for customs houses. Yeah. Okay, taking more whales. Gonna level up this city. Get another giant out. There's no way he can contest this city now, and I'm just gonna continue moving forward. So I say at this point, I've pretty much won at this point, I would say. It's actually that small mistake of him not getting of delaying that city. I would say it's actually probably his main mistake this game. It's oftentimes it's like small things. Just getting a city a turn earlier would have made all the difference here. I mean, he's not out yet, obviously. Well, dragons are still in the game, but see, he moves in very recklessly with this dragon, and he's able to take out a battleship. But like, I have a lot of giants and ships ready to be turned into battleships next turn, and dragons cannot fight a giant battleship. It has way too much HP. Even if it attacks first, it still loses. And over here, the giant has too much defense. He can't get it off the city. It would be a waste to even try with the naval one. They have good firepower, but not enough to stand up to a dragon. And he actually ends up not even moving it. Like, these ships, them all staying here. If he's not going to be able to stop me taking the city, then these ships should have all moved forward as far as possible to support the dragon. Not just leave it out there by itself. Because now look what happens. Move forward, shoot the dragon. It doesn't deal... That's actually a fun fact about the dragon. They don't deal splash damage on counterattacks. Only when you attack them. And then move forward. The warrior's going to knock 5 HP off it. I'm going to finish it off there. So I actually fire on... Yeah, I knocked 10... I fire on it with that battleship. And then I actually waste 15 stars turning a warrior into a battleship. Which normally isn't worth it, but to take out his dragon completely... And that was really like his only counterplay left. I think it was worth it. Because now he doesn't really have any options left. So I probably should have checked here before shooting. Because like now, that 3 HP... Yeah, the 3 HP warrior could have just carried on body blocking there, but... So I end up moving. I move this over here because I don't want the Navalon to be able to move forward and attack that. So the zone of control from the rider is blocking that. Obviously, he could kill it if he wanted to, but he has to waste more units attacking that. I'm gonna start claiming the ruin with the giant. Probably get these 2 in battleships at some point once these other ships come down here. So yeah, he just moves forward with the Navalon and attacks. And I think at this point he actually, yeah, where is it? Yeah, okay, so he's just continuing to attack with the ships. He should probably move them all back now if he's serious about doing a counter. They should either all be attacking down here, attacking this city, trying to take it back, or they should have all gone up and attacked upwards with the dragon, which I think would have been better. But they're just all a bit spread out, so he's not really posing a threat at any one point. So he just continues to chip away at this dragon down here, shooting at it. And I think he bought I think he bought a sawmill tech. It's either this turn or next turn, and starts teching for defensive catapults. And again, this is the problem with catapults. I know they ended up being good in the last replay. Oh no, not the last one. The previous one before that. But again, this is continents, not lakes. So the catapults physically cannot push because all it allows you to do is prolong the game, but it offers no chance of winning. On a map like this, detect catapults and just hide. I'll probably take expand borders here. If there's a whale, it's often worth it. Especially if I already have the tech, and it also reveals some more tiles. And also then, it gives me some more control of the sea, so on cities like this, expand borders is definitely worth it. Oh, sorry, got something in my throat. Alright, so yeah, he hasn't built a... I was assuming he was going to build catapults sometimes, because he often does. We've played quite a lot of matches together. Right, so over here I'm just moving in, going to take out the naval. I'm just going to take out basically all the I'm just aiming to take out all the valuable assets he has left in this game. And right now the Navalon is really, well, it's not a major threat, but it is his best unit he has left. So we're just going to focus on killing that, because the rest of his ships don't have the firepower to fight battleships. So he has 1 dragon left, but it's not a full dragon yet, so it's not helpful. Same with this dragon egg, it's not going to be useful for quite a few more turns. That's just that's one of my main problems with Elyrion. I think that because they're an aggressive clan, but their super unit doesn't fit that. It takes so long to get out. You lose so much tempo. Yeah, you should play Elyrion as a high tempo clan, but the dragon is just the complete antithesis of that. So I just think it's a bit of a flaw in the clan's design. He might move on the city for the Navalon to cut off the income. Like, that's normally a good move. Oh, he doesn't even end up doing it. That's normally a good move, but at this point my income is so much higher it doesn't really matter. And throwing units away is quite, but yeah, isn't very useful anyway. But yeah, and over here, if you're going to train catapults, frontal cities are not the place to do it. They're far too vulnerable. Especially since you know there are battleships nearby. So that's another small mistake. I mean, yeah, I think a lot of this is just a lot of small mistakes. They compile on top of each other and they eventually lead to a loss. But overall, this game, this was a significantly high. I would say it was significantly higher level than last time, because he was on top of his city leveling early on. I still think that opening up with another combat unit first and going for more exploration early on as Elyrion is probably better than trying to. They're not a clan that can level up their cities quickly, so just play to I would say play them to their strengths and go for more exploration with Polytopia. Really, they'd be better on a drylands kind of map. Early aggression is kind of their thing, I would say. Yeah, and I think this is the final turn at this point. So yeah, this game it's been over for a few turns now, but he continued to play on for a bit. I mean, yeah, I probably would. I think it was over once the city was taken though. And it's just a problem with dragons. Bardur is obviously Bardur was a higher level clan, so it's not like this was unexpected. But the way the spawns worked out, I would say this could have been an even game. It's just a lot of the time with Polytopia, and I guess a lot of strategy games in general, the early game is very important. So you've got, yeah, focusing on like that, your exploration, your leveling, the text you buy, it all has to be on point. Peace out, guys.